Hello there guys, and welcome to round number 12 of Elite Racing League for season number 8 in Spain. So unfortunately I just missed the previous race, which was Portugal, because it was the same time as my THR Ragnarok training session, and unfortunately in terms of my championship in the league, THRM, the owner of the team, didn't allow us to run in that race. So I think nobody of our team raced in that race, but now we're back in round number 12 in Spain, and hope I can get my best result of this season. Hope I can get into the top 5. In this season, my best result was in 7th place during the season opener in Qatar, and I'm hoping I can do a way better result. I almost did in Brazil, although I just crashed all the way into the finish line, and yeah, unfortunately that was just a terrible thing I did, and I was very ashamed of. But now we're in Spain, so let's just focus on the present day and not being like haunted by the past, or else we would have affected our performance, because instead of focusing on the present, we were still focusing on the past. So let's not focus on that thing anymore. So we're about to do our first flying lap of this session. I just set the balanced set of tire locations, so that means that I have only 3 sets of soft tires, and I'll just only use 2 sets of soft tires. The other one will be saved for the race. I open the DRS and we begin our first flying lap of this session. We're heading to this big straight. Now we're heading into turn 1, braking barely before the 50-meter mark. I just did very decently, although I didn't do this thing flat out into turn 2. I don't have much confidence to do this thing flat out, not like I have in time trials. We're heading into turn 4, got a decent racing line. Now we're heading into turn 5, and to be honest, I wasn't feeling much satisfied about these cornering speeds I got. We're heading into sector 2, and to be honest, we're heading to those corners very decently, and the DRS is now open for that mini straight from turn 9 to 10, and now we end that straight and we are heading into the final corners of the circuit, and we're heading into the former chicane. Wero sets the fastest lap for now, and we're heading into the final corner, and the DRS is now about to be opened, and we're about to cross the line with a 111.670, which puts us into provisional pole position. That is just a pretty good thing. I was just racing to be just a little bit in front, behind the driver who was in front of me, and I was wondering who was that driver, and well, I was just knowing it could be an Alfa Romeo, which I just knew that could be THRM, but I didn't know. At that time I didn't know that in this race only one Alfa Romeo raced. I just thought that there were 2 Alfa Romeos, and I was thinking that it could be THRM's teammate and not THRM himself. And then I just heading into those corners, and I was near enough to see that he was really THRM himself. We were now in our in lap. He let me pass him, and we are now heading to the pit lane, and we almost spin. I just got a snap of oversteer. That wasn't the first time it happened to me. I remember what happened in the second round in 100 Racing League Beta tier, before it got reset the championship, because they were adding many participants, and we were halfway through the season, and they changed the race time. It was the same day but a different a different time, and also they weren't. They were very canceled the races because not a lot of participants attended for the race, and so instead they decided to cancel it because they wouldn't race with that few participants. So yeah, those races were for nothing because they just the championship got reset, and so the points. Meanwhile, this topic in the present day, I dropped down to second place, just only 9 thousandths of a second behind the provisional pole sitter, a skydriver, THR's rival. And well, I decided to just head out for another time, but this time we were using the same set of soft tires we just used in our first flying lap. So this could mean that our lap time will be slower than the first one, but it may be just for practice, so I'm not very worried about it. The thing I have to be worried is about my third and final flying lap, which has to be, according to my plans, on the final minutes of the session. Not minutes, I mean seconds, because I just leave when there is 2-minute mark, hit it, and then I just set my final flying lap when red tire mark is like in a few seconds before the qualifying ends, and yeah, I just go and set a lap time that should be faster than the first lap time I just set in this session. So we're heading into the last corners and hope we can do a decent lap time, although I'm not expecting to be faster than the first one. But we're heading into the last corner, and unfortunately I just invalidated the lap before even starting the lap, but I didn't care much because it was just a lap of practice. So we're heading into turn 1. Unfortunately, I just ran wide, and that meant that I lost way more time into turn 2, and that meant that I also lost a little bit of time into turn 3, but it wasn't as massive as turn 2. But heading to turn 4, we just doing decently these corners, but unfortunately way slower because we don't have much grip from the first flying lap, because we're on scrappy softs and we're seeing that we're going too much wide into those corners. As you could see when I was just hitting the apex, or else in other words, I was just missing the apex. Sorry about that cough. I just it was unexpected, and I decided to just enter the pit lane and not complete that lap. And well, yeah, you were expecting that I would complete that lap. Well, unfortunately you were wrong. So yeah, I just heading to the pit lane because it wasn't worth to just finish the lap time because it was already invalidated. And also the last corner, I have not a lot to practice. It's just flat out, and I just touched a little bit the apex, so it's not that hard. So let's just wait until the 2-minute mark. Meanwhile, I was just checking the qualifying results. The top 2 still maintain the same. The skydriver and myself, we did not set any lap times. vThorm has gone into the pit, and we're just waiting until the 2-minute mark, and we're just leaving the garage with new softs and hope this lap time that I'm going to set at the end of qualifying is faster than the first one. Alright, so we're about to set our final flying lap of this session. I mean, to begin to set that flying lap, because in reality I'm not setting that lap time. I just barely begun. we're heading into turn 1. Unfortunately, I just ran a little bit wide, and overall we're losing 1/10 of a second. That's not pretty good, and as you can see, we dropped down to P4 because 2 other drivers set a better lap time than us. I'm just referring to Jolton and myself, and heading into turn 4, it was decent at least, but into turn 5, I just noticed a lack of grip, and my engineer told me that I was touching marbles and I should stay in the racing line. So that meant that I just took turn 4's exit very badly, according to him, and I just touched some marbles, which meant I lost some grip temporarily. And we're heading to turn 11. Exiting turn 10 was a little bit awful because I just got another snap off over here, and also another one as well as exiting turn 12. This lap time was a mediocre one, and we just finished to set a lap time. We stayed P4 because we didn't improve that lap time, and yeah, that was terrible. And if I had improved that lap time, if I had made those mistakes, maybe I could gain like 1 or 2 more tenths. Maybe I could get 3rd place or 2nd, but yeah, that didn't happen, and we stayed P4. And here it is, the qualifying results. Doesn't that got pole position, followed by Tamal, which was 0.059 seconds lower than him. Dalton finished 3rd, I finished 4th. Fertapia finished 5th, Wero P6, Thorm finished 7th in qualifying, Memekes finished 8th, Guerrero, my former teammate from season opener, finished 9th, and Bert 7 finished 10th in qualifying. These were the top 10, and my teammate Zodiac qualified outside of it. So well, let's just head into the pre-race strategy. Right, so here is the pre-race strategy. It's a default medium soft strategy, something I wasn't expecting to have as a default strategy. I did one in Qatar, but it was an altered one I did myself, just to test the hardware in the game. That was my first league race in that game in F1 23, and yeah, I was a little bit surprised about having that strategy, a soft medium strategy as a default one, but we lowered the fuel as usual down to 52 kilograms, and no car setup ever made for the race. So let's just get straight into the race. Remember that there's no formation lap. Alright, so we're now prepared for the race to start. We're waiting for the others to be prepared. Now they have been prepared, and the vibrate lights has now turned on, and it's lights out, and we're on the way for the Spanish Grand Prix in Elite Racing League from Season 8, round number 12, and we're heading into turn 1. That was a clean getaway for all of us, and hope it is a clean turn 1 for us, and fortunately it was, and we are still in P4 without any damages nor crashes, and that's just pretty good thing for us. The objective for this few laps is to maintain P4, and when it's lap 3 and the RS is now enabled, aim to overtake Jolton and maybe aim for the podium position. The race victory won't be very probable for us because Tamal is faster than us, and he may win the race and me finishing P2 or maybe P3 because I remember Dosentat, and he is also faster than me. I remember racing him back in the League Champions Advanced days, and he's way faster than me. So that could be just only a powerful ring that only Dosentat and Tamal can participate, and the only chances that we could aim for the win is when they have spun or crashed into each other, and they are just coming back from a few places. We may have a little bit of more competition for the race win. Meanwhile, we're now in lap 2, and we're seeing that there's 4-way fight for the race lead, and we just set the fastest sector, and Jolton gone wide into turn 4, and I was just aiming to overtake him around the outside to turn 5. I overtook him around the outside to turn 6, which isn't a turn, but when we entered turn 7, we were now we had the inside without anything, so we could get into turn 7 as we do. So and there was no need to open space with Jolton. That was very good for us. Meanwhile, we're just going into the final corners of this lap, and hope we are aiming to maintain P3. Maybe top 2 won't be any probability, but it may be possible. We just begun lap 3, and I just set the fastest lap of the race for now. Theirs is now enabled, and first 7 stole our fastest lap. Unfortunately, we're seeing that Wero is going to overtake us, and unfortunately I just went wide into turn 4, and I decided to defend my place, and I just outbrake him, but too much, and I just went too wide into turn 5. Wero decided to take advantage with this thing, decided to make a switchback, and he overtook me very easily. Yeah, that was just unfortunate for us, and despite us having DRS, that wasn't enough for us to overtake Wero. We're heading into the final corners, the final sector of the lap, and hope we can re-overtake him, although we're seeing that it is less and less probable that we can overtake him in the straight, or maybe because he's run wide into the last corner, but he set the fastest lap of the race, so this might be a hard time, but we are getting nearby with him, and we're heading to turn 1, and unfortunately we just spun because he's crashing with us, and he didn't leave me space, although I was blaming him for not leaving me space. I was behind him, so in reality he wasn't his fault entirely. He wasn't needed to leave a gap with me. He was ahead of me, so yeah, on that occasion I should have been back it off and stay P4. Meanwhile, we dropped 10 places. That is just pretty bad, and from fighting for the top positions, from fighting just be bordering in the points. Meanwhile, we're seeing that Bernie is now in the points, maybe Papi, but they are now fighting for the point because someone has spun, and we're seeing that Jolton is behind us, and we're seeing that Bernie is struggling a lot and almost crashes with Papi, and Papi almost got a terrible last corner. He almost, oh wow, that was close call. Thank God he ghosted, because that was a very dangerous spot to break, and he just braked too hard, and I almost crashed with him. Fortunately, he ghosted. And I was going to say, in reality, Papi did have a terrible turn 13, I think so. I think that was the penultimate corner, and I almost overtook him in the last corner, and unfortunately, when the virtual safety car ended, Bernie re-overtook me because, well, I was overtaking him, but I didn't have much grip into turn 5, and I slid a lot, and instead we dropped down to P14 once again. And we're seeing that Jolton is trying to overtake Bernie. He's done it, and he has done it, that thing, and meanwhile Jolton, unfortunately, we got crashed once again, we spun again, we dropped down to penultimate place. That's a pretty bad thing. and maybe, yeah, maybe our race is over for us. And look at that, we are struggling a lot with our tire grip, and we're seeing that Thorm is also struggling, and he's down to P13, as well as my teammate, who is in P14. And yeah, that is just pretty terrible for us. The reason we aren't dead last is because there's a skydriver who is behind me, and he's 13 seconds behind me, so he's literally dead last. Meanwhile, Wero got karma because he's dropped down to P15, and with the 3-second time penalty, and look at that, he spun me, and he's dropped down to the order. So yeah, he got karma. That's what happens if you crash with me. Yeah, we're just going with misery, and that's just pretty terrible for us. And yeah, I just got wide and got a warning for exceeding track limits, because yeah, I'm not having much grip and I'm going really wide. And look at that, I'm just struggling with grip, and maybe that's the position I'll finish in the race. While I was running in misery, we were heading into turn 5, and we're looking at the minimap, and we're seeing that the Ferrari has returned from the race, and that triggered the safety car, and that Ferrari was of Gludak. Well, that meant that we were now having a chance to be back into the points. Thank you, Gludak. And we're boxing for hard tires instead of doing a soft to medium strategy that the engineer recommended me a few seconds ago. I decided to just do a one-stop strategy, stick with that one-stopper instead of now change to soft strategy. Stop, not soft. Hope you did understand me. Because just in case there were no safety cars, remember, I'm not the man that overtakes too much. I don't have much straight line speed, and we just got stuck. To be honest, that wasn't much of a concern, because to be honest, we were still back of the field, and the skydriver wasn't dead last, decided to stay out, so we didn't lose anything. So we were still in P15, and we are oh yeah, I was just talking about why I decided to go for hard tires, and it is that I'm not a man who overtakes too much, and just in case the hard tires work slightly better than the mediums, I'm just trying to do an experiment, and I hope that experiment is successful. So hope we can do a lot of good things with those hard tires. And to be honest, some drivers also box for hards, or maybe that's because Wero is the only one apart from me that box for hard tires. Well, hope we aren't the only ones. Meanwhile, we're now getting into the bunched up field, and well, we're just heating up our tires, and let's just wait until the safety car ends. And that wait for the safety car to end has now ended now at the end of lap 10. Unfortunately, we can't heat up our tires enough to be at the optimal temperature. We're at 87 degrees Celsius, and they are still not at the optimal temperature, and now the safety car is ending, and fortunately I was heating up just in time for the tires to be barely at the optimal temperature, and we're heading into the last corner to begin that racing once again, and we are aiming to overtake Verdex 7, and we begin lap 11, and now we're green flags once again, and I just overtook him very easily. I wasn't needed to dive for him into turn 1, which is very hard to do that thing, especially in this circuit that we're seeing that Penny has got a snap of oversteer, and he's gone wide, and that meant that I got up to P12, that's just very good for us. And meanwhile, we're aiming for Guerrero, but I don't know, but I think that that won't be in this lap, because look at the gap. Look at the gap. He's just very far away from us to overtake him at the end of this lap. Maybe I can overtake him at the end of lap 13 or 14, but hope it is soon. We're seeing that Zodiac is trying to fight and we overtake Guerrero, but I think he is failing that, and he's dropped down to the outside of the points, just ahead of me, and we're heading to the final corner. And yeah, unfortunately for him, he's outside of the points. We begin lap 12, and it looks like Zodiac is now ahead of me and lost the fight for the point. Well, hope he does some teamwork for me, and well, let's see if he will do that thing. Then at the end of this lap, we're heading into the final corners. We were seeing that Zodiac was struggling a little bit, and he struggled too much into the last corner, so much that he decided to let me pass him. So I'm now leading Haas, and I have the quest to overtake Guerrero in order to get at least a point for Haas. Theirs is now enabled, and that will mean that catching to him might be easier, unless I'm not a second behind him, which it's the case. Although I'm now catching him, I'm barely into the second barrier, and we're seeing that now the gap is now less than a second behind Guerrero, so that means that I have THRs now, so I can now catch him very easily. Well, at least easier than without THRs, so that might help us, and hope we can overtake him in the next few laps. But unfortunately, we began lap 15, and the gap was still a little bit not enough to overtake him, but doesn't that return from the race, and that deployed another safety car. We saw that he retired into turn 2, and yeah, we're seeing that a Sky driver also got involved, I think so, although I don't know what happened, to be honest, in order that doesn't that retire from the race, but it was enough to provoke a safety car. I decided to stay out with hard tires, and well, let's see if they're going to box for mediums, because we're almost halfway through the race, so most drivers would box for mediums because the tires can last that amount of laps. Although well, let's see, that might be the case, or the case might be that everyone will stay out because they didn't trust the medium tires durability. But we're seeing that some of the drivers are boxing, and we're getting from P9 all the way to just P8. So just one driver in front of me boxed, but he wasn't the only one, although the rest of them, or I think just another one that was behind me, which was my teammate Zodiac, boxed. So yeah, it was almost the second case, and we're seeing that well, I wasn't seeing that thing because, to be honest, I just went to the bathroom, so yeah, I didn't see much of that thing, and that's the reason why I was just leaving the AI drive the car. I was just taking advantage from the safety car, and yeah, I just went to the bathroom. So yeah, after that I returned to my sim racing set, and I was just taking control of the car once again. And after that we were just waiting until the safety car ended, because we can now punched up that field. So and also we were just heating up our tires. So yeah, that's the same thing we do in every single safety car we do in all of these races. So yeah, nothing special, to be honest. And that wait for the safety car to end is going to be on lap 17 at the end of that lap, and we are on this lap 17, and we just barely got our tires into the optimal temperature, and we're heading into the last corner to end lap 17. I deployed just a little bit of my ARS. I decided to, well, just deploy a few of my ARS. I was just defending my 8th place, and I almost rear-ended Guerrero because I didn't brake too much, but that wasn't too much of a disaster because to be honest, we just got a little bit cleanly, so we weren't that bad into turn 1, and we're seeing that Guerrero got into a marble zone and he's gone wide into turn 5, and well, we're just maintaining that place, so nothing special. In Guerrero it's gone wide into turn 8. That meant that we both lost time because I didn't want to overtake him into turn 9. That would mean that it would mean a suicide dive bomb, and Churrasco's gone wide, and I overtook him, and we're up into P7. So at least we overtook one driver, although it wasn't Guerrero, but instead was Churrasco. And we're seeing that Churrasco got overtaken by Wero, and we gone wide once again. And unfortunately, Wero is about to overtake us, but I decided to deploy much of my ARS enough to defend my 7th place, and I successfully did that thing. So hope we can maintain that P7, maybe overtake Guerrero, but that won't be way easier than just defend that place, although it isn't either easy because Wero is faster than us, and we just gone wide, and in this time he overtook us since turn 4, not like in last time that I was defending still. When we were into turn 4, we're seeing that there's battle for P6, and Wero was wheel to wheel with Guerrero until turn 7, which they decided just stay like well, I don't know. Oh boy. Wero has been a little bit dirty today. He crashed with me. He has now 6 seconds of penalties accumulated, and we're seeing that a Williams spun, and we're up into P6. What I was trying to say before that thing is that Wero crashed with me, then he got a 6-second, well, 2-3 second time penalties, and also he's crashed with Guerrero, and we also got overtaken by Memekes. That's not very good. Although we're still on P6 because he has a 3-second time penalty, so yeah, he's got his position affected by that penalty, and we're seeing that Bappy has gone wide into the runoff area, and we're up once again into 6th position, and that might be P4 because of their penalties, 6 and 3, Wero and Memekes respectively. Yeah, I just said in a weird manner, although Dalton is trying to overtake me. I got the RS, he also has the RS, and neither of us have penalties, so that might be a proper fight for P6, or maybe not, and it'll be decided just in that main straight. And oh, unfortunately, yeah, we still have the RS. That's fortunate, although Dalton was way closer than me, and he overtook me way easier because he had slipstream, and also he deployed all PCRS. I decided to not do much effort because that would mean I would lose much time, and also I didn't want to overuse my hard tires. And speaking of overusing, I'm now struggling with those hard tires, and yeah, that is just a terrible thing. We got overtaken by 3 cars, and if it wasn't by that thing, we will be all the way up into P4. So yeah, we have no tires. Also, we don't have much ERS management. Also, we don't have much power. Well, we have power, but we don't have much straight line speed because we have too much downforce, but still we don't have grip because of these hard tires. And yeah, but we're still in the points, not like Fernando Alonso, which he was outside of the points. But yeah, you should understand what I was referring to. And yeah, I just went too early into turn 1, and I decided to just correct a little bit because I didn't want to touch the sausage curves. And yeah, we were struggling with those hard tires. Look at the gap between the car in front of us and myself. It has been increasing by a margin, like a second. That is just pretty bad. And yeah, that is just how bad my hearts were. I think I should have boxed for mediums. So yeah, I don't know. I thought during the race I was regretting to have boxed for hards, and instead I should have been listening to the engineer. Although what I have seen is that just a few cars boxed for mediums, and I don't know, but now don't regret to box for hards. And we're seeing that vThorm is also struggling with the hard tires because he's dropped down to P5. And yeah, that's just not a good selection we've chosen, and we're in danger of being overtaken by the Aston Martin. And 5 laps later, and you could see in the MFD how much we're struggling with those tires, and tires were wearing out, and we're seeing that Memekes is struggling with the medium tires, and we're seeing that vThorm has spun, and we are now up into P5 when we apply these penalties, and Memekes is struggling too much that now the gap has been reduced to less than 3 seconds ahead of me. So that means that his position will be affected too much by his penalty, as well as vThorm, because he also has a 3-second time penalty. And we're entering lap 29. 5 laps to go, and we just almost crashed into vThorm, and we have to go into runoff area. Fortunately, they didn't consider us as a track limit extension, and so we didn't have a 3-second time penalty like these two. And we're seeing that Bernie has returned from the race, and the safety car has been deployed. And thank God I didn't get another warning, because that will be the 3rd warning, and when you get a 3rd warning for track limit violation, you get a 3-second time penalty, and I didn't want that thing to happen to me. And well, we are now a little bit more than 4 laps to go, and that means that we're going to box for softs. Although the problem is that we don't have new softs anymore, and that means that we have to box for scrapped soft tires. And I'm praying that the soft tires that I'm going to use aren't too worn out, and hope that are just like slightly worn. And well, we are about to enter our box, and they're going to switch our tires to the soft tires, and we're seeing that not bad. it was just 5% of tire wear, so we can handle that. There won't be much difference as of qualifying. So let's just well, we aren't that angry, and Memekus got disqualified from the race. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what happened. That I don't know what has he done in order to be disqualified. Although that's not our main focus. Our focus is that we have to heat up our tires, and also we need to be a little bit careful in order to not wear out too much. Because I think they have gone for new softs, the others, and they're just wearing out too much because they're just heating up the tires in an aggressive manner. Meanwhile, I try to do this a little bit carefully. So let's just do that thing, and I know that the safety car will end at the end of lap 31 because you know, the safety car in this game automatically ends when there's 2 laps to go, and in real life that's some different thing. It may end at the end of the penalty lap, or maybe end the race in the safety car, but in this game it is not the case. So I know that the safety car will end on lap 31, so let's just do another lap in the safety car, heating up these tires in a now bunched up field, although not completely, because there are 2 drivers that are yet to come in that bunched up field, and we're almost completed that lap, and the safety car is now ending as I predicted, and fortunately we're now into the optimal temperature. The tires, I'm referring to the tires, and well, we're just about to begin this 2 laps sprint. Someone rear-ended me, although we didn't have damages, and we are back to racing. And someone, well, that driver who rear-ended me was my teammate, so yeah, he violated the rule number 1, which was to not crash into the teammate, and we're seeing that vThorm has gone into the runoff area, and that is just pretty bad for us. Well, bad for vThorm, good for us because we're up into P5, and we're seeing that Tamal also got a 3-second time penalty, so that means that this can convert into P4, maybe into the podium, because no, we are now about to be in the podium. Maybe we can get into the podium because the drivers that are ahead of Tamal may also get a 3-second time penalty. So we're heading into the last corners to begin the final lap of the race, although not yet because we are barely heading into turn 13, and we're seeing that Tapia almost was so slow that we almost come wheel to wheel into those last corners, although I didn't want that thing to happen because that would slow us a lot, and that would mean a lose-lose. And we are now into the final lap of the race. The game is on, and we are fighting for the podium position, and we're seeing that the top 2 are fighting for the lead of the race, and we're seeing that Tamal is trying to join in top 5 and convert it into a 3-way fight for the race win, and we're seeing that vThorm has retired from the race, and we are seeing that they are wheel to wheel, Tamal and the driver who is ahead of him, and we're seeing that someone has spun and Wero, and we are up into P4 physically. And we're seeing that Jolton has also a 3-second time penalty, and we're trying to overtake Tapia into turn 10, and unfortunately we couldn't do that thing. And despite that, that means that we're going to finish 2nd place. Although we're finishing 4th physically on track, and we are seeing that we almost have the gap, although I didn't want to use that thing because I didn't want to risk that thing to end badly. Although Tamal crossed the line in first place and Jolton second, they got demoted to third and fourth respectively. And Fer Tapia wins the Spanish Grand Prix in Elite Racing League. Although, yeah, we didn't want him to win because he's Sky and I'm THR. I finished second place, and that means that this is the best result we've ever got in this season. Wow, what a race. What a race. So these are the race results. Fer Tapia won the race, followed by myself, Tamal and Jolton, despite crossing the line in first and second respectively. They both received 3 second time penalties because they just exceeded track limits violation. Churrasco finished P5. What a recovery because he started 15th. Sandia, the Aston Martin driver, Guerrero and Wero finished 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th respectively. Bert finished 10th. Zodiac, my teammate, was bordering the points, and Bapi finished 2nd. Zodiac and Bapi were the only ones who finished the race and were outside of the points. Well, I think with Bapi because he ended up being lapped, or maybe he ended up retiring at the final lap. Tom retired as well, and the other ones also retired. So yeah. Oh yeah, let's just look at the penalties they added to the other drivers after the race. So these are the penalties they added after the race. And look at the penalties they added to Wero after the race. He got a 3-race ban, which means that he won't participate for the rest of the season because there are 3 races remaining, and maybe I'll just only participate in one because I don't think Thorm will let me participate in the Tuesday races because THR Ragnarok's we're getting off topic, so let's just return to that thing. We are returning to the topic of the penalties, and we're seeing that Gludak also got another penalty, which was just -1 point in his super license for just causing a slight hit and causing to be in last place on the driver who was into turn 1. And returning to Wero, he got the 3-race ban. You're wondering why, and it is because he was having a terrible behavior in the track, and also he got more than 5 reports from other dirt drivers in this race. So yeah, the driver got very, very dirty. So yeah, the winner for Tapia got a qual ban for causing a collision, destroying Wero's front wing, and he got taken out 2 points from the super license. Although I wish they added 3 second time penalty to him, although that only was because I wanted to win, but yeah, they did it at the second on the race, so yeah, his win is still tactic. And the last one who received a penalty was Zodiac, my teammate, who got 5-second time penalty for causing a damage to other drivers in his spin and taking out of the track Bert 7. So he was the only driver to have in-track penalties post-race, although his position won't be affected because he was the last one to finish in the lead lap. So yeah, that wasn't too much of a concern for him, although yeah, I wasn't satisfied by the penalties Bernie added, but it is what it is, and hope in the next race it is the same as good as the last 2 laps of this race, and maybe we can aim for the race win, although Tamal won't allow us. So there you have it, guys. This is over, so see you guys in the next race. Goodbye.